Well, you will recall last few web out reports talked about a drop in regular real estate, then a drop in high-end real estate first, and then a drop in overall real estate, normal markets. So I am going to grab some of that from the web out report, read it to you, and then read you this article that just came in July 18th, 2016, well after the web out reports were written, talking about exactly what it said. I'm going to get that report for you right now. Okay, so here's one. This is actually from the June 2016 report, web out report. And there's more in here, but I'm just going to read you this one to start with. The Chinese currency change is showing as rippling around the world as the real estate markets globally get hit by a chilling freeze that goes around the planet in less than a week. The data sets are forecasting that real estate sales companies in non-Chinese markets will be disemboweled by their former Chinese buyers, who will now be turning into vicious sellers who are desperate to be relieved of their financial suffering. This desperation pops up in model space as a compounding factor to the global real estate crash of 2016 and onward. The desperate Chinese real estate sellers are indicated to also cause shifting fortunes in the Chinese internal economy, as many find that they become victims of what will become known as trapped money or syndrome or disease. This trapped money victims are also described as being affected Chinese central authorities in the foreign policy of China pops. That's one little piece. What did we just see? I just talked about this the other day. In Britain, all these real estate funds, people want out. They ain't got the money. So what are they doing? Their investors want out. Nope, we don't have the money to give you. We're going to have to sell our properties, our big high-end properties. And that's what they did. And then I remember reading on Zero Hedge, oh, here's the first three dominoes to fall. This company, that company, that company. Next day, add three more to the list. Next day, another two or three more, 8, 9 total. And there might have already been some more that I just haven't paid attention to recently. This is exactly what I just read to you, practically. But wait, there's more. Stand by, I'll get it. So this is kind of on that same line, and I can easily see this going there. It's going to go there. At the macro level, this new cratering is described as promulgating side effects in the form of regional real estate depressions. These sets are forecasting that entire regions of the country will become known for their poised real estate market. The idea is that overbuilding and underemployment locally and the sudden disappearance of foreign buyers is going to turn some of the previously hottest real estate markets in the country into black holes where real estate, especially condos, go to die. As housing and real estate so critical to both personal well-being and the domestic economy, it is not surprising that the subjects have some of the highest emotional values within the lexicon. This is being reinforced in the accretion patterns as the data is flowing like rivers into new sets for dislocations and foreclosures and evictions, while at nearly the same rate there are alternate sets growing with squatting and secret living arrangements, wherein property being professionally managed while vacant will form a black or gray market for short and long-term rentals. In collective assumption, takeovers of whole building complexes by more or less organized squatting gangs. Now, I am going to say we're not close to that yet. But be rest assured, as the global economy continues to crater, this stuff will happen. I remember the first time I ever heard of people squatting in houses, you're going to hear news stories about it, was the Webbot a few years back after the big collapse happened in 2008. And sure enough, then little news stories popping up. Boop, 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 squatter, squatter, squatter. Oh, wow. Knowingly, I'm going to go right in this house and take over. I got foreclosed on. I got nowhere to live. I'm going over here and I'm going to stay in that house. Happened all the time. So here's this other part. Along with the crashing real estate, the data sets are continuing to build for car dealerships going bankrupt and shuttering. In some sets, we have data for the car showrooms and other dealership properties becoming squatters' housing, as well as being converted into warehouses. This other piece, not only is housing indicated to be falling into real price discovery, but all of the sets referencing commercial real estate are also filling with support for the Great Crash. In some of these sets, we find that the squatters will be also moving into abandoned storefronts. In other sets, we have data for store owners who will take up residence in their retail stores in spite of zoning problems as their local economy deteriorates. Again, this is that last paragraph, completely expected. Times are tough. I'm still making a little bit of money at the store. It's working. I can pay the bills, but I can't pay those bills, pay myself and my employees, and live in this house, this high priced house that is now crashing down, and I'm not giving it. They can have the house, or I'm renting over here. People seem to think they can still get these high rents, and reality is saying no, you can't, but they're still trying. So I'm out. My bank account demands so. I'm going to go live in my place of business. Completely easy to see this happening. So this is just the June Webbot report. We had July's that talked about this. We had the one before June that talked about it, etc. This is not something that's crazy. So once again, Zero Hedge posted, as I'm doing, well, technically yesterday, July 18th. I'm doing this video at night. It is not looking good for the U.S. housing market. What do we got here? It's got an ad playing on old Jay Snip trying to do a video here. It can't be playing no ads. Or music in the background anyways. So let me try that again. 1 week ago, we reported on Manhattan's Billionaires Row, a death knell just tolled for luxury real estate. We documented the sudden trapdoor that opened beneath the ultra-luxury segment in the Manhattan housing market. Then several days later, we observed that it is not just the luxury New York City market that is in trouble, but the broader market across all of the U.S. when we noted 3 red flags that the broader U.S. housing market was starting to roll over, among which 1, a surge in inexperienced third-party mom-and-pop auction buyers who were arriving just as institutional investors are starting to flee the auction market, and 2, a collapse in retail purchases for homes, home goods and furniture, traditionally a coincident or slightly lagging indicator of home purchasing activity, and number 3, a plunge in housing buyer traffic, according to the Credit Suisse real estate agent survey. Then this afternoon, another flashing red flag emerged when we learned that overall sales in the Hamptons plunged by half, and home prices fell sharply in the second quarter in the toniest enclaves of the Hamptons, New York's weekend haunt for the wealthy. Reuters blamed this on stock market jitters earlier in the year, I'm sure, which dampened the appetite to buy. Yeah, you know what? The stock market's was a little low earlier in the year. That house we need to move to. Let's just forget it. Not worried. All of a sudden, we don't need to buy a house. Honey, what changed? We do need to buy a house. We're living here. Our lease is up. We got to. Well, the stock market just what was that? Jittery. Stock market jitters earlier in the year. I'm sorry, honey. What the hell is stock market jitters? That's some nonsense I heard on from Reuters. That's exactly what it is. Any bad news that comes out, paint it on some other little thing, but don't paint the other little thing bad. Just there was jittery. You do the jitterbug. You do the jitterbug. Okay, let me stop. Yeah, I had the jitterbug. We're going to have to hold off on that now. Hamptons and all, we're filthy rich. Just for some reason, we can't seem to pull that trigger now all of a sudden. So, where were we? Where was I? Reuters blamed this on stock market jitters earlier in the year, which dampened the appetite to buy. However, one can also blame the halt of offshore money laundering, a slowing global economy, the collapse of the petrodollar, and the drastic drop in Wall Street bonuses. That's another telltale sign there, isn't it? In short, a sudden loss of confidence that a greater fool may emerge just around the corner, which in turn has frozen buyer interest. And frozen it has. According to the Realtor Town and Country Real Estate, total sales volume in the East Hampton area fell 53% from a year ago, down to 44.7 million, as the median sale price fell 54% to 2.38 million. The median sale price fell 54%. In fact, a drop this steep has not been observed since the financial crisis of when, 2008. In Southampton, total sales fell 48% from the second quarter of 2015 to 45.3 million, with the median sale price falling 21% to 1.65 million, data has shown. In East Hampton, only 12 homes were sold and 17 in larger Southampton due to a lack of inventory and because sales typically lag when the stock market underperforms, said Judy Desiderio, chief executive at Town & Country. This is just a shift of the needle that I expected because 2014 was a high cycle for the high end, she said, who says luxury home sales in the Hamptons run in 7-year cycles. Oh, you mean like the other cycles run? Which means we're due for a crash, isn't it? The stock market surged 30% in 2013 with record sales in excess of $100 million set the following year. So anyway, it's time for the old cycle, isn't it? The club's been telling us all about it in all their movies. 7 years, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7's everywhere. And this is the 7 of the 7-year cycle, the 7 times 7, 49. After the Shemitah cycle, the debt jubilee year cycles of 7. So, am I expecting a big market problem here in the near future? Well, answer is already yes. I've already talked about it. Already read you the Webart reports. I am fully in line with what they say. Housing crash, starting with high-end real estate first, then regular real estate. I also showed you recently Martin Armstrong's charts and his cycles, who has an amazing amount of data. And his shows 2015.75, October 1st, 2015. And it just goes down, down, baby. Your street in a Range Rover, boom. All the way down to 2033 approximately, the year. We're talking 16 years from now, roughly, of down, down, baby. Your house in a black hole. That is one of the reasons I told you once I settled with Bank of America with my house, we had to go rent anyways after that. But even if I could quickly get back into a house, not a chance in hell was I going to, because I fully expect a housing market crash to come again. Why in the hell would someone who knows this say, I'm going to go buy when the prices are too high? I'm the fly on the wall, like the club does. They gut out companies and buy them for pennies on the dollar. They crash the markets, they crash the banks, they crash everything, and then buy up all these companies for pennies on the dollar. And then they tell the Federal Reserve, right now, go ahead and bail us out and bail everybody else out, now that we got all the assets. Okay, they did it in 1929, and they just did it in 2008 and 2009. So why can't old J Snip 4 take notes after all those years with Lindsey Williams telling us to grab a piece of paper and pencil? I did. Okay. And my notes say, hold off on that real estate purchase for a bit longer unless silver goes absolutely crazy for some unknown reason, like just out of control. It's $150, $200 an ounce or something. Real estate's come down a little bit, but not like we're expecting. I don't like what I'm seeing. Okay, I'm going to go cash in my silver and buy a house. That kind of a thing. That'd be the only way I do it early. But I don't think they can happen early. We have to have some serious chaos happening in the world economy and the markets for silver to move like that. And that would also mean real estate's not looking good. So I think those two things will kind of coincide with each other. One may lead the other, but I don't think they'll be too far apart. Take care.